What if I tell you that one of the biggest geopolitical battles of the future is not happening in the deserts, not in cities, but in ice?
Yes, you got me right.
We are here to discuss Greenland, its importance, and how it influences the Arctic Circle. Have you ever wondered why the United States is so interested in Greenland? What has the US already done there in the past? And more importantly, what is US right now doing to increase its influence over the area? Which countries around the Arctic have started showing interest over the frozen ocean, and why? And here is something very surprising. China, which is not even an Arctic country, is trying to gain influence over Greenland. But why? Why does melting Greenland matter so much to these powerful nations? And a very important burning question, is melting Greenland just a climate crisis, or is it becoming a starting point of new global power struggle?
But before we answer that, let us first understand what is really happening beneath the ice. The reason behind everything is again global warming. Increasing temperatures are causing Greenland's glaciers to melt faster than ever before. Glaciers, which took thousands of years to form, are melting 100 times faster. The thing that bothers us is that when ice disappears, something extraordinary happens. Land appears. Resources become accessible. And the most important thing is new shipping routes will open. Now ask yourself, if new oil, minerals, and trade routes suddenly appeared, will powerful nations ignore them? Of course not. Geologists believe Greenland holds significant deposits of rare earth minerals, which are not ordinary resources. These rare earth elements are used in smartphones, electric vehicles, wind turbines, and advanced military technology. In simple terms, the technologies of the future may depend on what lies beneath the Arctic ice, and more specifically, on Greenland.
Now, here's the point where story truly turns global, because Greenland, of course, is not standing alone in the Arctic. Surrounding Greenland are some of the most powerful nations in the world, and each of them has a reason to have influence over the area of Greenland. If the Arctic becomes the world's next major trade highway, it is for sure that whoever controls it controls speed, money, and influence. Russia has the largest Arctic coastline in the world. And over the past decade, Russia has aggressively expanded its Arctic presence. It has reopened the old Soviet-era bases, building new airfields, deploying icebreakers, and strengthening military infrastructure across the region. But why? The reason is simple. Melting ice gives Russia access to new shipping routes along its northern coast. That dramatically shortens trade between Asia and Europe. As a simple rule in geopolitics, shorter routes mean faster trade, and faster trade means more power. Now let's look west. Canada has vast Arctic territory. For Canada, Arctic ensures foreign powers not dominate them because of extreme climatic conditions around Arctic Circle. Now let's talk about the governing country Denmark within the Castle Row, where Ray reinstated. Denmark controls Greenland. But here's the critical detail. Denmark has very limited military presence in Greenland. This clearly means Greenland's security depends heavily on alliances, especially NATO and the United States.
Now talk about the United States. By most of the people, it is a belief that America's interest in Greenland is recent. But in reality, US began showing its interest in Greenland decades ago. During the World War II, Greenland was a location of prime strategic importance. The United States established military facilities in Greenland to protect the shipping routes and monitor the North Atlantic, which was a critical lifeline between North America and Europe. But the actual transformation came during the Cold War. I have a question for you. If missiles could cross Arctic in minutes, then whoever watched the Arctic can obviously detect threats first. A big breakthrough, isn't it? That's why in early 1950s, United States built Thule Air Base, one of the northernmost military installations in the world. This base plays a major role in American missile warning system, radar networking, and Arctic defense strategy. But Thule was not the only installation. US has operated several facilities and airfields across Greenland for research and defense operations. But however, when the Cold War ended, political climate changed. Military budgets were reduced, and some installations like Sandreström Air Base were closed and transferred as the immediate threat declined. For a time, it seemed like Greenland's strategic importance might fade, but history has a way of repeating itself. So, as global tension began rising again in the 21st century, interest in Greenland also returned.
So now the question is what the United States is doing in Greenland now. United States is no longer withdrawing but increasing its strategic focus on Greenland. United States operates Pawtucket Space Base, one of the most important installations in the Arctic. From this base, the U.S. controls its missile warning systems, satellite tracking, and keeps a radar check across the polar region. This is not just about defense. In modern geopolitics, information is as powerful as weapons. Radar systems of U.S. can monitor a large area of the North Pole. Satellites over the pole can be easily detected by the U.S., decreasing threats. But military presence is only one part of the strategy. In recent times, the United States increased its diplomatic relations with Greenland, opening a consulate, strengthening cooperation and supporting development in the area. But why? It is mainly because the modern world is not built with soldiers. It's actually the partnerships and long-term relationships which matter. Also, the U.S. wants to stay ahead of its competing nations. Special Mother of the Court wants to consider a secret to the fight of the void. Now, this growing importance has led to some surprising moments in modern geopolitics. In 2019, Donald Trump discussed the idea of buying Greenland. However, it wasn't a joke. Serious diplomatic discussions were done between the U.S. and Denmark. Denmark, which administers Greenland, firmly rejected the idea, stating that Greenland was not for sale. But in all these global conversations, one voice matters the most.
Among all these global discussions, the perspective that matters the most is, of course, the people of Greenland themselves. Powerful sea maps, trade routes, and military positions. Greenlanders see their home. Although foreign investments are bringing job opportunities and economic growth for their country, but most of the people of Greenland do not want to become part of another country. Self-governance and long-term independence, it's something they value a lot. This brings us back to the burning question finally. Is melting Greenland just a climate crisis? Or is it becoming the beginning of a new global power struggle? The answer is both. Global warming is melting the ice, but geopolitics is heating up the region. Melting glaciers are revealing something very powerful for which all nations are competing. History has shown us again and again, when geography changes, power shifts. The Arctic was once silent, isolated, and forgotten, but today it is becoming one of the most important regions on Earth. Greenland has now become a land of global interest. The world is changing fast. Make sure you're watching closely. See you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.